Good evening, everybody. Hello. How are you? I hope everyone is just fantastic. Hope everything's good. Why am I open? Good evening, a good evening. Say the woid, boss. Say the woid, boss, and I'll toss this asshole out on his ear. Huh? Say the word. Good evening, my friend. Everything is not okay, so I'm glad to see you, buddy. Oh, sorry to hear that, but glad that we can just kind of hang out and chill a little bit tonight. Just chill a little. Jewish girls. Yeah, I know Vinny down by the marketplace dated a Jewish girl once. Why are you so mediocre? Dude, be the most mediocre that you can be. You know what I mean? How's Squeaks? Squeaks is good. You guys want to see? Here is Senior Squeaks. He sits on my beanie on the desk and he sleeps. Listens to me rant and rave about, nonsense. He likes it. Kitty. He's definitely starting to, he's eating really well. He may not be gaining weight as fast as the vet wants him to. The vet wants to see him in 2 weeks and hopes that by then he's gained a pound. Because he said he was a little bit scrawny when we got him. But I think he's just little. I think he's just runty. But he's been eating really well, sleeping really well, pooping in his cat box. He's already a little trooper, man. What flavor of e-juice is this? Dude, it's the Bubblicious Grape Vape. Show him? I mean, I can't, there's no real easy way for me to do that, but I'll try. Here you go. Here's Kitty. Here's Kitty. Soft kitty. Hey, sleepy kitty. Happy kitty. There you go. You've seen the kitty. What it do, Porl? How was your week? I'm exhausted and ready for a small window of a break this weekend. Yeah? Well, enjoy that. My week has been kind of frustrating because I don't have everything that I need. There's stuff in the mail that I need to get the channel, my Cinema for Cynics, back up and running. But it's been pretty cool. I think we've done 2 really good DFF episodes this week. One public one, and tonight we streamed a private one for our patrons, and it was a lot of fun. I haven't played Fortnite. I don't really care to. I'm not real good at first person shooters anymore. Certainly, boss. Certainly. What was the topic of the private show? The topic of the private show is a secret. Because a patron would know. No, I'm kidding. We did a look at the Heaven's Gate cult, another suicide cult. We're thinking about doing, maybe 2-week long blocks of shows on similar topics. So, you could consider this next couple of weeks, perhaps, Suicide Cult Week, Crazy Cult Week. That is a terrible idea. Scientology might be a little like narrow of a topic. We're thinking more like doing like, horror movie week and then crazy cults week and then stupid religious bullshit week and you know what I mean? Having a 2 to 4 shows kind of on a similar topic, still keeping the topics of each secret, but kind of giving people a taste of what to expect for the next couple of weeks. And then just when they get settled into that and go, man, I wish these guys would do something else, boom, 2 weeks of something else. Am I able to see the new DFF somewhere by it, even though it aired and I missed this month's Patreon? Yes. Well, eventually. Right now, unfortunately, you're kind of fucked. But if you become a patron now, by the time the next month cycles, you will not only get next month's private shows, but you should be able to stream any private shows that you missed. We hope to get the patrons an archive by then and start building a list of shows so that when you join, not only do you get the new episodes, but you get to go back and peruse all the old episodes. So that'll become something that becomes more valuable as, we get more episodes under our belt. But still, if you miss one, it'll be there. I became a patron yesterday and I still saw the Vimeo link, so it won't work. It should work. I mean, if you saw the Vimeo link, then you should be okay. So if you, I guess if you became a patron yesterday, you got in early enough to get this episode. What will you mix with the pudding and applesauce? Phenobarbital, dude, and vodka. Aquaba. Aquaba, yo. Sorry if you've already answered this. You guys are going to still look for a new place. We've secured this place for the time being. Probably not for an entire year, but for at least 6 months, we're good. So we should be okay there. But, couple months out, we'll start perusing the listings and find us a good spot. What cult was more creepy to you, the People's Temple or Heaven's Gate cult? Creepy? I mean, Heaven's Gate is a little bit like Marshall Applewhite himself is kind of an unsettling figure. So they're probably the easy choice, but I don't know. I think the amount of people that Jim Jones had and the amount of control that he had over them, I think that's a little creepier to me than, because Heaven's Gate was weird. And it was a very strange story. Had a lot of weird peculiarities about it. But, it was only 30-something people, right? Jim Jones, it was over 900 people. Paul, could you see yourself becoming a voice actor for games and shows? I mean, it'd be fun, but I definitely would have to brush up on how those people operate and get the opportunity. You know what I mean? There's probably a lot of people that want to be voice actors for cartoons and video games and shit. Just give me a second here, folks. Paul, would you DFF the Oklahoma bombing? Maybe. I don't see why not. For the meantime, somebody requested a creepypasta reading. And even though I'm not really feeling like doing it all episode, I can read a little bit of pasta, right? So, without further ado, this is called The Art of Jacob Emery. Ghost stories? Nah, no, we don't have anything like that around here. We do have the story of Jacob. That's about as close as you'll get. You really want to know? Well, I'm not supposed to tell you, but alright, just no interrupting. I don't have the patience for interrupting. How to describe Jacob Emery? Well, I guess you could say he was the kind of guy you could never take notice of. This isn't to say he was a bad kid in any sense. I mean, many people in this town thought he was the most reliable person for an odd job in the state, but he never really excelled at anything. He was the living proof behind the statement, jack of all trades, ace of none. Most of this was due to his own lack of will. He dabbled in damn near everything this town could offer him. Automobiles, radio operations, store management, what have you, but he never stuck with anything. His friends and coworkers went after him about it a number of times, but everybody got the same unsatisfying response. It just wasn't enough. Needless to say, any friends he kept were either very patient or never spoke of the matter altogether. It was probably inevitable then that Jacob would leave to go abroad. I don't remember where he went, but I think Gertrude down the street knew before she passed on. You'll have to scout someone else if you ever get curious. In any case, no one even tried to stop him. Everybody thought that a little travel would stamp the ambition out of him, or else feed it till it was no longer an issue. Hell, we even gave him a sending off party, which I thought was pretty nice of everybody. Anyway, he was gone for 6-7 years? Can't remember. You'll have to check with someone else about that too. Anyway, he came back eventually, and he had changed, obviously enough. He was amiable, energetic. He was all smiles all the time. We quickly learned why. He showed us this souvenir he'd brought back, a solid black stick, about the length of a pencil but the texture of chalk. We all wondered why on earth such a simple thing would prompt such a spring in his step, till he gave his demonstration. He took out a piece of paper, and with this stick, God, there's got to be a better word for it. With this stick, he drew a crude circle. It dropped and rested on the border of the paper like a stone. It didn't leave the paper, but it acted out on it, sort of like an old movie projector on a screen. Son, I know how crazy that sounds, and if you feel like playing the skeptic, then you can leave an old man to his craziness. But I know what I saw, even if everyone's been hushing it up, and the stone he drew dropped. Jake even passed around the paper, and as it was being passed, it rolled around as the paper got tilted. I mean, none of us had any word for it. Hell, what was there to say? But he continued drawing demonstration after demonstration for us, stick figures in various pageants and plays, doing everything from fighting each other to making perfect human pyramids. And we all thought it was incredible. I mean, that was all the go ahead he needed. He announced that he planned to put on shows to pay his rent and to get food. Where he would draw, in these shows, he'd draw anything the crowd members wanted. That we talked to some length about, and he eventually convinced us that it would be safe. His drawings ethical, the practice lucrative and unique, and the attention would not go anywhere outside the town's borders. Poor Jacob. If I'd not been so swept up in the moment, I might have read the signs right then and there and saved the sorry son of a bitch by snapping the terrible thing in half. But I was younger. I mean, we all were. We saw no problem with encouraging him with what we all saw as an incredible experience to be shared with everyone else. Now, he didn't have any big radio or television connections, mind you, and the internet wouldn't come around for another decade or so. So he did what all people on a shoestring budget do. He advertised his show with flyers. Now, flyers might not mean anything to you city folk, but in a small town, they gain a fair glance over from time to time. And what's more, Jacobs managed to stick out by having little figures jump up and down and whatnot to get people's attention. I mean, his first show must have gotten nearly 60 or so people, probably a lot more than that. And his shows were fantastic. If someone would shout out a scene from a play or a comedy sketch, and Jake's hand would fly over a white wall like a bird. And he'd been holding back when he made that stone, that's for damn sure. His illustrations were all spot on. He could make an incredible human figure in minutes. Come to think of it, I don't remember any of his scenes lasting more than 10 minutes to make. I mean, they were all so really well done. And not only could you see a knight charge to a castle, Jake would draw the castle's interior as well, like a wedding cake split down the middle, so you could see the knight scale the walls, fight his way through levels to the dungeon, fight his way back out with a princess, and make a leaping jump off the castle parapets on his getaway horse, all in complete silence. Not realistic, no, but that was part of the appeal. None of us went in there expecting something real. When a scene or sketch was finished, either the characters would leave off a wall or he'd cover the wall with white paint. This was good in a way. It gave these shows a time limit so that when he'd finished with all four walls in the room, everyone knew the show was over until the paint dried. Jake, meanwhile, was changing, I guess in a bad way. I'd mentioned that upon his return he'd been extremely energetic. Well, all that energy, that vitality and fervor, or whatever you want to call it, had never left him, not for an instant. Far from it. I mean, it seemed to grow in him. And he enjoyed it all too much. His eyes grew wider. He slept gradually, less and less over time. His statements and opinions got more radical and frenzied. And though he never was a pushover, he started to make people nervous in his company. A month or two passed, and Jake's audience grew like a wildfire. I mean, nearly everyone in the town paid to see Jake's art in action, and he had to rent out larger and larger places for them to sit. Now, he didn't stop after one scene was done. He moved directly on to the next, put on the next blank space, sometimes to the intriguing effect of causing scenes to mingle, which the crowd loved. The subject matter got more wild and immoral, the monsters more bizarre and creative, the fighters using more impossible weaponry, all for the sake of the crowd's interest. And Jake got steadily more indulgent, which we figured was from the money. He became a drinker and a womanizer, neither of which got rid of that vitality, by the way. Some of these women claim that they woke up in the middle of the night to see him scribbling with that stick on a drawing pad, a gigantic grin on his face, and while most of them said that they'd assumed he was drawing them in the nude, there's rumors that one or two of them got glances at that notepad. Those anonymous few supposedly said that those drawings absolutely were not nude pictures, and neither of them, whoever they are, will say what, and neither of them, whoever they are, will say what he was drawing. Don't bother looking for the notepads or flyers, though. They're all gone now. I'm getting off track. Point is, he was hitting the bottle, and that's important because it was that drinking that would eventually ruin everything. On the night of one of his performances, as he walked in front of this cheering crowd, it was immediately apparent to everybody that he was completely drunk. I was in the front row, and I could smell the bourbon on him from like 10 feet away. The show started, went through a bunch of sketches and scenarios the crowd recommended, when at the end someone asked him to draw himself. Everyone cheered the idea. I guess they'd been wondering what his creations thought of him, and eventually he obliged. No sooner had Jake finished connecting the final two lines on his coat than every single character across the vast, expansive wall all stopped and looked directly at that illustration. Lovers stopped kissing, clowns stopped laughing, robots stopped fighting pirates. Everything stopped and looked at the Jacob illustration. The crowd died almost instantly. I remember Jake's face at that moment, pale white, full of terrible comprehension at his mistake, and looking desperately for the cans of white paint that he'd forgotten to put out before the show. Everyone else, they were looking at the fake Jacob. That Jacob reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a black stick of his own, and as we all watched, drew a door. He pushed on his side, and the door swung open, allowing him to walk through onto the floor of the auditorium. The rest was just absolute hellish pandemonium. I mean, people screamed and ran for the exits as Jacob's characters, both those currently on the wall and those which had previously left before being covered up, ran out of their own exit, throwing pies, shooting lasers, blowing fire and poison and the impossible. I was near enough to the exit to escape and gave only one backwards glance, and that scene will haunt me forever. Jacob Emery was being dragged by his creations, kicking and screaming through the door his copy had made. The auditorium burned down, obviously enough, but I have no idea how many characters escaped, what happened to the fake Emery, or how many people died. The fire brought the fire department from the nearest cities up to 100 miles away. They in turn brought the police force, which brought the government, which hushed up everything. They took the flyers, any art that Jake had made, and swore everyone to secrecy, or else life detainment. The fire was blamed on a cigarette in the garbage during a basketball game, and we all eventually went on with our lives. Jacob was made to have never existed. In retrospect, I realize everything. Jacob hadn't been creating illustrations. Illustrations don't move, much less act or attack. They're just images people see, shadows made to look like real things. Jacob had been making life, actual thinking things in some alternate dimension, using a power that was never meant to fall to mortal hands. He got drunk on that power, and his punishment was probably well-deserved. Incidentally, the government screwed up on 2 different accounts. They did a damn good job of silencing everyone, but proof remains. The ruins are still there. The auditorium's ruins. I hear they're going to start reconstruction soon, which will wipe out any remaining evidence someone can definitely see, but I went back there once, several years after the fire, just once. Amidst the rubble, covered in ash, I saw something squirming. I looked closer. It was Jacob Emery's hand on the wall, exactly as it had been 3 years ago. Sweaty, calloused, I remember. But it was constantly flailing, as if the body it was supposed to be attached to was still writhing in the flames somewhere. That was mistake number 1. Number 2 was those creations. I mean, like I said, I don't know how many escaped or how many the government agents found and caught, but I will say this. Those tall grass meadows on the outskirts of town, don't go in there. Ever. You're asking about those white figures you've seen at night, right? I told you this town doesn't have ghost stories. Well, that was pretty cool. That was pretty fun. A bunch of cartoon characters coming to life. I liked it. I liked it. I enjoyed that immensely. Could have been. I bet you could have had some fun with that hand. Yeah, yeah, dude. Take that home with you. Lube it up. Well, well. Looks like we got ourselves a reader. There's a SpongeBob episode that's similar to that. You know what's funny? Spamming the same racial slur over and over again. I totally agree, man. It's the height of fucking comedy, man. The height of fucking comedy. I don't know why these stand-up comedians bother doing anything else. They just bring down the house with one racial epithet. SpongeBob SquareDanks. Could have done some Evil Dead shit with that hand. Yeah, dude. Could have done some evil shit, period, with that hand. If only Tim Allen knew the secret. Yeah, that's true. If only. Oh, yeah. Totally just, legal tobacco from the tobacco plantation. SpongeBob makes a copy of himself called Doodle Bob when a pencil fell from an artist into the sea and into Bikini Bottom. Okay. Well, maybe the whoever wrote that creepypasta was inspired by that episode. Who knows? Have Brett Keen on ideology? No, no thanks. I'd rather have this be a fun, relaxing place. Oh my god, yeah. People are giving TJ shit for the Jordan Peterson nonsense. It's like, oh my god. That guy is, there's no denying that he's an intelligent dude, but he's got some pretty silly ideas when it comes to religion that are this kind of glaring herpes sore on his logic that he has to constantly refer back to, but can't answer simple questions about. Jordan Peterson is a little bit crazy, guys. Do you miss doing DP, Paul? Not really. I've got an outlet for that in the new show. Um, so, yeah, I'd say not really. Burn Paul. He spoke against our Lord. Yeah. Do you miss Ben? Ben and I don't really have a miss you bro type of relationship and never did. Jordan Peterson has me trapped. Okay. Frollo? Yes. That's because Claude Frollo is my nigga. Up for some HOTS games? Nah, man. Will Billy the Fridge be on DFF? I think that'd be hilarious. I'd have no problem with him being on DFF. I don't see why he couldn't be. I know Billy's got an open invite for me if he ever wants to come and needs somewhere to stay in this area. He can chill in, you know, some spare room over here. TJ got the idea to name the kitty Frollo from a previous stream. Thoughts? I don't care what they name him, dude. If he wants to name the kid Frollo, that's fine. Is there anything preventing you, TJ or Scotty, from guest starring on DP? As far as I know, no. I can speak for myself, at least at this point in time. I'm not really interested in guest starring anywhere. And I think it would be confusing to people during a time when my new show and Drunken Peasants are trying to establish a different kind of feel for themselves. And I think it would be kind of a confusing thing to have, you know, members of the old cast. That's not saying that it'll never happen. It's just saying I don't think this is the time or place. I agree, squeaks or squeakers. I mean, whatever. That's his little nickname from me. That's gonna stick at least with me, because I can't think of him as nothing else but Squeaks. Oh. Oh. Happy kitty. My favorite DFF episodes so far have been Caligula, Washington versus Trump, and Top 10 Movie Monsters. Okay, cool. Yeah, those are all really fun episodes, and all probably will end up being the basis for future episodes. I think of our list episodes, the one that I liked the most was the Top 10 Movie Monsters, allowing the chat to kind of chime in, at least at the beginning, as we whittled things down. I think worked best, at least for a live environment. Paul, to make DFF better, you guys need thoughts. Lots and lots of thoughts. Okay. I'll work on getting thoughts. Chat is now saved in live streams. Thank God we're preserving that history. I mean, you don't have to. For this stream, though, I'm really glad that they added it. Oh, or maybe you're talking about like the fact that I'm putting it on the screen now. I mean, that's just out of courtesy, you know what I mean? You guys are part of all of this, so people should get a chance to see what I'm talking about when I'm raging against the tism. Hey, Paul, I really like TFF, the topics, conversations, fan interaction, etc. All great stuff. However, your overlay isn't 100% perfect, so I have to unsubscribe. I'm sorry. I understand, man. What a bunch of scumbags we are. What a bunch of douchebags we all are. A close-up of the glass? What glass? The one I'm drinking out of? Oh, you mean this glass? No, you can't see a close-up of my glass. It's not for you. This book is not for you. Anybody know where that's from? I'll give it to you again. This book is not for you. 10 internet points to the chat person that gets that quote. 10 internet points up for grabs right now, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, modship over the chat. Modship over the chat. Oh, Darth Swader, dude. Darth Swader. You get to be... I'm actually not going to mod you, but you get internet points, my friend. You get internet points. 10 to Darth Swader. Just weren't quick enough on the draw, lone peasant. You gotta jump in there. The movie's beyond classic, dude. That movie is just, it's dreamlike, dude, watching that film. Another one that I just went and saw with the Galen that's like that is The Dark Crystal. Just super, like, just dreamlike all throughout. Totally cool movie going experience. How do you guys come up with topics on DFF? It's Scotty, TJ, and I all meet and we brainstorm and we have discussions. And those discussions give birth to a list of possible topics. And then we take a look at that list and we refine those topics down to the ones that we think we really want to do. We talk about the process. We talk about how we can change things, make things dynamic, tweak little things that we've tried in the past, that maybe try something different that might be better. And then we do a show. They're remaking Neverending Story and a Dark Crystal Netflix show. That's pretty cool. I heard about the Dark Crystal Netflix show. I didn't know they were doing a remake of Neverending Story. It's probably going to be horrible, but maybe it'll be cool. Who knows? Let's see. Does Brett Keane still bother you guys? I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the Keenster in quite some time, my friend. So would not be able to tell you. Paul broke up with Brett officially last year. It's over for real this time. What do you believe is the reason for this channel's slow growth? It's pretty insular, right? I don't really put any effort into the content at all. I don't really make any effort to reach new people at all with it. I alienated a good portion of my original subscribers by changing the format to me rambling and ranting and raving and sharing it with people that they didn't know. So, yeah, let's say that was it. I don't really concern myself much with it, though. What's the worst job you've ever had? I think I've talked about this before, but I had a job one time where my job was literally to pick garbage out of garbage. So I worked at a glass recycling plant. We would get these big loads of garbage from the Bay Area that was supposed to be recyclable glass, but was filled with, it's just garbage. People just threw whatever in those cans. So, dirty diapers and tampons and condoms and sharp objects and fucking every nasty thing that you can imagine. And we were trying to get metal and ceramic out of it. So I stood next to a bunch of other dudes on a conveyor belt that would go by in the front of us, and we would try and pick chunks of ceramic and metal out of the garbage. That's a pretty shitty job. That's a pretty shitty job. I might get fired on Monday. My life is currently in chaos. I just want peace. What do? Find a job that, confers you a little bit more peace. roll with the punches, man. What can you do? Will you do a role play series like Misadventures? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really have time to start new things right now. Got a lot of irons in the fire as it is. Am I wrong? Tell us a story about the Starbucks spinner. I'd rather not. Can we not? Can we just leave that one where it is? I mean, it's not even really a story. It's one of those stories that's just going to come off like a humble brag or whatever the fuck, so I'm not going to. We're not going to go down that road. It's not. I'm telling you, there's no punchline to it. There's no. Is it an Applebee story? I don't know what. I mean, maybe I might be thinking of a totally different story too. This guy's saying he's already heard it. The one I'm thinking of, I've never. It's not, like I said, it's not even really a story, and I've never told it. I don't think. So you'll have to give me a little more detail as to which story you're talking about. Edgy Midwest of California, Coolsville, Paul. Yeah, yeah, man. Paul, your next desired Elder Scrolls location? I'd love to see an Elder Scrolls in the Khajiit area elsewhere, or in Black Marsh, where the fucking lizard dorks are from. G'day. Stretchy kitty. Oh, kitty, so stretchy. Kitty, so sleepy. Oh, yeah, kitty, so tired. You gonna read creepypasta? I did one earlier. I didn't really plan on doing a whole bunch tonight, um, but I had a little fun with it earlier. Was that a tornado or something? Why did I read? Why did I just like when I read your comment? I heard it in Butthead's voice from Beavis and Butthead. Was that like a tornado or something? Tornadoes are stupid. Do you miss living with Taylor and Scotty? I miss having everybody in one location so it's easier to get together when shit needs to get done. But I think both of the people involved in that move are happy about having extra space and their own space. So, I'd like to see a Fallout somewhere affected by nuclear winter. Yeah, me too, dude. That'd be pretty cool. How do you feel about ball twerking? Ball twerking? Is that what I think it is? I was just like, what could that be? And I was just like, oh, just some dude. So dude bends over and jiggles his balls. Nah, man. No, thank you. Seeing a Fallout game based anywhere other than America would be a pretty awesome thing, wouldn't it? Like, think about a Fallout Africa, dude. Think about how crazy shit would get on the African continent in the event of a global thermonuclear war. Yeah, Fallout Japan, that'd be pretty awesome. Dude, any place would be pretty cool. Fallout Sweden and shit. You do like a Frozen North kind of. Fallout Russia, yeah. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Fallout Africa, just present day Central Africa. There you go. Damn. Throwing shade at the entire continent of Africa. Fallout Wakanda, dude. Yeah. War. War never changes. War. War never changes. In Wakanda, the people grew complacent, thinking that our technology would protect us from the wars of the outside world. We were not prepared, though, for the nuclear fire. It came with a rush that killed most of Wakanda. Those that survived sought out the last remaining vibranium in Wakanda to create fantastic post-apocalyptic machines. Have you ever been interviewed? Like for what? I think so, yes. Yes, I've been interviewed. I've read that China is just dead in the Fallout universe. Over 8,000 nukes fell there. Okay, so no China. I'm fine with that. What about Africa? Come on now. Paul Zigo, I'm from the New York Times. Have you a moment for an interview? All right. All right, Joey. Go for it, buddy. Let's see those reporter skills. You ask the question and I'll answer. Plot twist. Paul has been a nuke this whole time. Dun dun dun. But who was phone though? But who was phone? Fallout Australia. I mean, isn't Australia already pretty much already there? Like, aren't there roving gangs of like abos that'll, you know, in power armor and shit out in the outback? Just cobbling together shitty old fucking cars from the 1980s. Oi, look at this. I made myself some power armor from a 1987 Buick Regal. Oi, look at that. Australia is much like America for the most part, socially. I know, I'm just joking. I'm just memeing. I know you guys have got like running water and flushing toilets and all the shit that we've got, you know. I mean, you guys are kind of looking at the new set for Cinema for Cynics. Most of my videos are going to be shot from a very, very similar angle to this. sitting right here. The idea being that I can do production of my videos all from one place, still feature some little cuts of me every once in a while. So, how is Squeaks right now? You guys want to see Squeaks? So sleepy, sleepy little kitty. He's so sleepy, he's a sleepy kitty. Holy smokes, man. Have you written off the idea of doing a creepypasta theme channel, or is it a possibility? I think it's a possibility. What's Val Kilmer's best performance as an actor, in your opinion? Him as Jim Morrison is hard to beat. He was great as Jim Morrison. He was also fucking fantastic as Doc Holliday in Tombstone. I actually pretty liked him a lot in The Saint as well. That's a kind of a remake of an action flick he did with Elizabeth Shue. The hardest thing with having a tiny animal around is the fear. Yeah, dude. Oh man, I'm so worried that this little dude is going to be underneath a chair that I'm sitting at, and I'm just going to absentmindedly get up and roll over his little tail or some shit. Like, he's so tiny. Like I cannot overstate the tiny. Oh, good. Just a sweet kitty. Oh, sweet kid. So sleepy. He's so sleepy. If it would save the kitty's life, would you make love to TJ? Yes. Good luck, Paul. You're very loving with your pets. I'm sure you'll do a great job. Well, I've got a lot of people helping me with him. I'm not the only one responsible for him. There's 4 people here, so. Does Squeaks have a favorite human? I don't know. He likes everybody. Like, he'll go to all of us. Like, he really loves everybody in the house. It's really kind of cute. When Ashley walks it, like if he's chilling in here with me and Ashley walks into the office, he'll let out like a meow and just jump down off the desk or whatever, and run over to her, spend some time with her, and then pretty soon, before you know it, I'll feel him climbing up my pant leg. He'll just climb right up my pants and sit down on my lap, or jump back up on the desk and lay down, or get up on my neck and sleep. Um, and then with TJ and Chelsea, it's the same. I watched him yesterday, like, do the cutest thing with Chelsea. Like, she was sitting on the couch, kind of laid back, and he just walked right up and just, like, curled up right on her neck and went to sleep. It was cute. And he sat in TJ's lap while we watched a movie last night. TJ just, so he loves all the humans. Does Squeaks get people food? He doesn't right now. No, we're being careful with him because he hasn't even gotten his shots yet. He didn't weigh enough. They didn't want to give him his shots because they said he was too underweight. So he's got to put on a couple of pounds before we can even give him his kitty shots. Would you rather have a human child that looked like a cat, or a cat that looks like a child? What? I don't even. Get out of here. I'm pulling a parachute on that question, okay? See ya. Bye. Nice try, though. Whatever, man. I really did like. I think I'm a bigger hard ass than I am usually. Like I thought when the girls said that they were gonna get a cat, I was just like, oh well, fuck it, whatever. I'll pet it or whatever. I'm not gonna be mean to the cat, but I ain't getting attached to this fucking cat. I got shit to do, man. Ain't gonna get attached to this little motherfucker, man. They're gonna have to take care of this little motherfucker. They're gonna have to worry about where it's at, what it's doing. They're gonna have to feed it. They're gonna have to water it. They're gonna have to clean out the poops. And like, all it took was just spending 1 hour with him to go, oh no, yep. Now I'm responsible for everything in your life. Oh, little kitty. He's having little kitty dreams. Look, I'm gonna try and get it. Sleepy squeaks. He was having like a little kitty dream there for a second. He was kicking his legs and making little noises and shit. Good lord. Get Squeaker a zap collar? Fuck you, you hateful person. Is Diner still your one and only? He's still my best bud, dude. That spot is not up for rent in my heart, but I'm good friends with Squeaks too. Me and Squeaks get along pretty well. Pets I've had: fish, a lizard, and 2 tarantulas. Never had a tarantula. I've had fish, and I had an iguana. Paul, you kind of look like Treebeard. Harum dum dum. The Boyd is the woid. Feed that cat to an alligator. Neil, you're probably the softest motherfucker in this chat, dude. Nobody is buying this hard ass, shit, dude. Nobody's buying it, man. Your heart would melt right now if Squeaks was sitting on your shoulder and purring, dude. It'd be over for you. Ain't nobody buying this bullshit. Least of all me. Going to sleep like Squeaks? Alright. Alright. I'll have a good sleep. You once had some kind of either a rhino beetle or a stag beetle? Cool. I'd like to have a beetle for a pet. That's pretty cool. Paul, you should cosplay as the Penguin from Batman. Okay. But when I have to shave my beard to pull that off, I'm not doing that. So that's this, cosplay bullshit. Like, I'm so limited in what I can cosplay because only, so many cool characters that got beards. And only so many cool characters are fat and have beards, so I'm even more limited, dude. You can cosplay as John Goodman. Okay. Well, I'm starting to find that when I do these sitting here at the desk and stuff, that about an hour is as long as the chat can hold out. And then it just descends into total nonsense. Um, I mean, whatever. What are you going to do? It's been fun. Thank you guys for chilling as always. And I hope to see you next time. Good night.